Well, hello everyone, and thank you for stopping by. Today I'm trying another type of Bandsaw Reindeer. This one is a little less involved than the previous one, so it is perfect for the beginner woodworker. The pattern is also free from the Woodworkers Guild of America, and a link will be provided in the description. The first thing I did to make the process more repeatable was to cut the pattern out and glue it to a small piece of 1/4 inch thick plywood so I can make a template, thus making it easier to reproduce it in the future if I want to. You could also just cut the pattern out and glue it straight to your workpiece if you don't think you'll want to or need a template in the future. I do have to admit that there was something oddly therapeutic about this step. It was the strange, nostalgic feeling of being in first grade again, even with that old familiar smell of Elmer's glue. So I kind of recommend making the template simply for the joy of that feeling. And no, I did not eat any of the Elmer's glue. After gluing up your templates, it's simply a matter of cutting them out. I need a 1/8 inch bandsaw blade, and I have a new one that I plan to put on soon, but cutting these out wasn't too bad with the 1/4 inch blade that I have now. I'll speed this up a good bit because, well, it's a pretty straightforward process. Once you have your templates made, simply trace them to your workpiece. Here I'm using a scrap piece of 2x4. Just to make sure that you copy the pattern facing the correct ways as demonstrated, and not backwards or upside down in relation to each other. If there are any questions, the wider part of the small template is the feet, so it should be at the bottom of the piece in relation to the larger template. My scrap 2x4 was also a little long, so I cut it to size on the miter saw off of camera. Next, it is just a matter of first cutting out from the thin side. It is crucial that this side is cut first. As you can see, I only have a small 9-inch wind bandsaw, and this is pretty much the limit of its abilities. The new 1/8 inch blade should make cutting these curves a little easier when I get it put on. The key here is also to try to keep the offcuts in as few pieces as possible. Next, we will take those offcuts and take them back to our workpiece. I like to use clear packing tape because, well, it is clear first of all, and it also is pretty cheap and I always have some laying around. The important part here is to make sure that your lines match up on the cutoffs to the lines that are still left on your workpiece. Finally, we cut out the pattern on the wide side. This goes a lot easier for me because it's a more reasonable thickness for the limits of my bandsaw. There are some kind of tight curves here, but the number of cuts doesn't matter at all, so you can take them off in as many pieces as you need to. The thing that really matters the most is to try to keep the cuts as clean as possible, because that will save a lot of time when finishing up later down the road. I will speed this footage up a good bit because, well, it isn't really that riveting to watch, and I think you get a point of cutting out the lines. For finishing, I just used a Dremel with the 120 grit sanding wheel and just shape up the bad cuts that I had and soften some of the edges. I'm sure this could be done just as easily and probably a little bit better with hand sanding, but well, I didn't want to. It is at this point that you realize this is kind of a funny looking reindeer. It has quite a long neck, and if you squint it probably could pass as a hybrid between a deer, a giraffe, and a rabbit. But this is being the second one that I've completed, and it does tend to grow on you over time. Finally, I just went with a natural look and finished it with a mix of boiled linseed oil and beeswax. The first one that I made I stained, and will provide a picture of them both together at the end of this video. Beginner's project that is quite enjoyable and rewarding. Let me know what you think in the comments. Like and subscribe if you want to. If not, I understand. Stay safe and try to smile wherever you are. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time.